What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of That's Right, I Said It. The reason I call it that is because some of my takes are takes that not everyone will agree with. The processes that I talk about as far as Kratom, tapering off of Kratom, and also a lot of the things that I talk about are things that would generally be very embarrassing for people to talk about, as far as my past and some of the things that I've done in my past during active drug addiction. But you know what? That's the realness about me. And, I go through a lot of, there's good, bad, and ugly in everyone's life. And I go through a lot of the bad and ugly, as far as my past. And, I've made peace with most of the things that I talk about on here, including, apologizing to and asking for forgiveness for certain people that I may mention on this channel that I've hurt with, my previous drug use and just being deceitful and things of that nature. So I'm handling that end of it, but there's a reality for people who have lived their life as a drug addict, and a lot of times that reality is that we do or we have done things in our past that we're not proud of, and that are shameful and that we feel guilty about. But part of that process and moving past that shame and guilt and learning to forgive yourself and so that you can live again, part of that is admitting that drug use has caused me to be a terrible person in my life. And things are a lot different now, in spite of the fact that I am still on Kratom, tapering off of Kratom. A lot of people will get on and say, well, dude, you're still taking Kratom. What are you doing? What are you talking about? But if you've watched any of my previous videos, there's a method to my madness. And, I am a firm believer in, instead of being so miserable and cold turkey quitting something like Kratom, when you have a lot of responsibilities that you have to attend to day by day, take a road that is going to set you up for success. And that's why I encourage people to taper off of it. You can, help yourself in terms of not having to deal with some of the pause, the post-acute withdrawal syndrome, or symptoms. You can help yourself in that way. And you can also help yourself if you're a person like me who was taking like the MIT 45 extracts, which are very, very strong. Then you can be a person that can help yourself financially. And, before you jump in my comments and say, what does finances got to do with it? It's about your, physical and mental health in regards to drug addiction. Let me just say, I agree with you. But, in the interim, the financial component is a very important aspect of it. You have to be able to live. You have to be able to pay your bills, keep a roof over your head, pay for your car, pay for gas so that you can get back and forth to a job every day, so that you can work, continue to make money, and live. Living comes first. And if doing a cold turkey withdrawal from an opiate is going to cause you to do like it does for a lot of people, and to relapse within the first few days, because you're so miserable and you just can't handle the post-acute withdrawals, then what have you really done other than relapsed? And drug treatment facilities and stuff like that, those are never a bad idea. They're never a bad idea. But as far as the post-acute withdrawals for something like Kratom, what's a drug treatment facility going to do for you? What are you going to do? Go to a drug treatment facility and get put on Suboxone, and then take Suboxone for 6 months and then have to withdraw from Suboxone? Because withdrawal from Suboxone is way worse than withdrawal from Kratom. So it's one of those things, because of the legalities associated with Kratom and the fact that it is legal, it kind of, the landscape of the process of going through drug treatment and drug therapy and stuff is a little different. And so I'm not saying any of those things are bad things. AA meetings, NA meetings, all those things are good things. But, you know, there's a reality regarding the post-acute withdrawals. And a lot of people don't have the luxury and ability to just be able to unplug from their responsibilities for 2 weeks of their life while they get past the physical withdrawals from something like Kratom. And especially if they've been taking a large amount for an extended period of time, some folks might feel trapped. And that's where I come in. I have a little experience with this, and so I'm sharing kind of my blueprint for coming off of Kratom. Some people agree, some people don't. I've been getting a lot of encouraging comments from guys. I've got several new subscribers this past weekend. I just want to say to you guys are awesome, man. I just have people just jump in my comments just to say, hey, you got this, bro. You know, stay the course. You know, and then I got other guys that jump in, tell me a little bit about their own story, which I love. Because it feels good to feel that kinship with people who have gone through similar things. And I hope it's that way for you as well when you're listening to me and some of my stories of my current and my past. I hope that you feel that sort of kinship as well. And I can tell that a lot of you guys do. And I've just gotten a lot of really, really good responses and comments from people. And you guys have no idea how appreciative I am of that. And keep it coming. Keep it coming. I'm going to keep doing this. And, you know, and of course, I've gotten a couple of trolls here and there as well. In fact, I had one guy tell me the other day, he left a comment. It simply said, grow up. Now, the first thing I thought was, oh, okay, so this guy thinks there's an age limit on being a drug addict. You age out of it at some point, apparently, which is somewhat laughable if you've ever been involved in drugs. I know there's a maturity component to where maybe by the time you get to my age, maybe you should have figured this out, I guess, maybe is what he meant. But, you know, we're here to support each other at the end of the day. And my second thought with that comment was, how did he end up on my Kratom video? You know, anybody who ends up on my Kratom video and it comes up in their feed, they have some interest, whether current or past, regarding Kratom and Kratom withdrawals, because just look at the titles of my videos. So, you know, when somebody like that comes in and says grow up, but yet he's on my Kratom video, so he's searching stuff about Kratom, the first thing I think is, dude, you're just a vicious, malicious sort of person at heart, you know. And I don't really want people like that as subscribers anyway. So, you know, grow up, guy. It's all good, man. You don't have to subscribe. In fact, I don't want you to. So, you know, you keep going on about your merry way, thinking that you're better than everyone else who might be in some sort of recovery or having an issue with addiction. And I hope that works out for you. You know, I hope that salty attitude that you have towards other people trying to better themselves, I hope that salty attitude somehow serves and benefits you in the future. It's doubtful. But, you know, maybe you know something we don't know. Anyway, I appreciate all the encouragement, because that's really what we have to do with one another and for other people that are struggling with some sort of addiction. And I really appreciate that. So it is Monday, with the start of a new week. I have come down. I'm proud to say I have only taken roughly about 4 grams of Kratom today. So I pretty much cut my morning dosage in half this morning. And I want to talk a little bit or elaborate on my opinion on the importance of cutting down your Kratom intake week by week. That really needs to come off of your daytime. If you're a person that's been dosing on Kratom, if you're taking Kratom powder, whatever it is, and you've been dosing on it, you know, say, for example, you take some in the morning, then in the afternoon, you take another dose of it, and then later that evening or at night, you take an additional dose before going to bed. When you began to cut down on the amount of grams that you use, I have found that for me personally, it's been helpful to take that off of your morning dose or take that off of your daytime dosages first. Because one of the worst things about post-acute withdrawals, and if you're a person out there that's ever been through any level of opiate withdrawal, you'll probably agree with me. If you don't, let me know in the comments. You know, I'm an easygoing guy. I love to hear different people's takes on things. My take is that the night times are the worst. That's the worst, man. The daytime withdrawals, you know, the tiredness, you know, maybe having some bowel issues there for a little bit, the temperature control, you know, trying to regulate your body temperature, that sort of thing. Those are annoyances, and they are very annoying, and they can get you down, and they can be somewhat frustrating. But there are little things that you can do to help mitigate those symptoms as you move throughout your days. You know, with exercise, drinking a lot of water, you know, they're always, which caffeine is a drug, don't get me wrong, but you can always, you know, drink you some coffee, drink you a Monster energy drink. If your energy gets really bad, take you some a multivitamin, supplement some B vitamins. Those things are really helpful for energy. So there are some things that you could, you know, if you're having loose stool from post-acute withdrawals, you can take something to kind of, you know, help solid things up in there, over-the-counter medication. So there are things that you can do to kind of mitigate your daytime sort of symptoms. But as far as your night times, the restless legs, the uncomfortable feeling in your chest that is associated with post-acute withdrawals, those things to me are harder to navigate around. There are some things that are commonly suggested to help with those sort of withdrawals. You know, some of those are magnesium. There's this supplement called Calm, and it's actually a powder, like a magnesium supplement, and that's actually supposed to help relax you kind of at night, help with withdrawals a little bit. There's things like melatonin that people encourage, that, you know, chamomile tea, these things that kind of promote relaxation and sleepiness and that sort of thing. I've talked about this at length. For me, I'm, you know, kind of on then off, a little bittersweet on those particular topics, because if you're in the first day or 2 or 3 days of post-acute withdrawals and you've been taking a large amount of opiate for a pretty extended period of time, you may find yourself in a situation where if you've cut down or gone completely cold turkey off of opiates, you may find yourself in a situation where just none of that really helps a lot. You know, and I've talked about that melatonin might make you sleepy, but the physical withdrawals, the restless legs, all those things will serve to still keep you awake. So you can take the melatonin and then you're just going to be a sleepy, irritable fuck. And I've had that happen to me, because when you're in post-acute withdrawals, the melatonin, the chamomile teas, all that stuff just doesn't really do a lot to put you over the edge as far as helping you be able to fall asleep, at least not from my experience. Now, if your withdrawals are light, you were a person who wasn't taking a large amount of kratom on a regular basis, and you've gotten past maybe the first 2 or 3 days where it's a lot more difficult to sleep, you know, you may get to a point pretty quickly after night 3 or 4, whatever, where you can take some melatonin, or you can take some, drink some chamomile tea, or you can do the magnesium supplement or whatever, and it might help you drift on off and sleep on through the night. And if that is the case for you, then that's great. For me personally, you know, I was coming off of 1.5, 2 MIT 45's per day. So I was taking a pretty large amount of the kratom alkaloid, and I was doing this, you know, on and off, but fairly regularly for about a year and a half. So for me, when I went to come off of those, and it's been 3 weeks now for me, today has been 3 weeks since I've had an MIT. it's been, especially the first few days for me, melatonin didn't help. Chamomile tea didn't help. Magnesium didn't help. I just kind of honestly had to suffer through it. And this is with still taking some Kratom powder too. There's just such a difference in the amount of alkaloid you're getting with the MIT 45's, that is, the Kratom extracts, and what you're getting when you take the Kratom powder. And I've talked about that. So roughly at this point, I'm down to about 11 and a half grams is what I've been taking the past probably 4 or 5 days. Today, I've lowered my morning time dosage, and I'm on track at this point to take roughly about 10 grams today, just a little over 10 grams. So I've dropped it down again. I'm at about 10 grams of the Kratom powder, and hopefully I'll sleep pretty well on that tonight. My post-acutes should be at a point, after 3 weeks off of the MIT 45's, they should be at a point now where I can take like a melatonin or something like that, and it'll kind of help me, drift off and stay asleep through the night. But I'll have more information about that tomorrow, because I haven't slept tonight yet. So I don't know exactly how it's going to be. I'm just keeping my fingers crossed. But, do what you're doing. Watch my videos, leave a comment. I've had so many people jump in and tell me a little bit about their experiences. And I've had some people leave some really good suggestions as well, because as a lot of us have really been through a lot of the same things, and the same, had the same type of experiences with opiates. And so you can really get some good advice on videos like this, not just from me, but you can peel through the comments and be like, oh, yeah, I hadn't thought of that. And it's actually been the case for me too. I've had a couple of guys ask me, have you tried this or have you tried that? And it made me go, oh, okay, yeah, I hadn't thought of that, but I'll give it a shot. One of those was L-tyrosine. It's supposed to help kind of with your mood and energy a little bit. I've not tried that, but I plan on it. And, do with that what you will. If it's something you've tried, maybe you'll continue taking that. If it's something you haven't tried before, there you go. Give it a shot if you're going through any sort of post-acute withdrawals at all. And I've talked about, if you're at a point in your life where you can do the post-acute withdrawals, then do the post-acute withdrawals. That is the quickest way to get completely off of the Kratom and get back to ground zero. The issue is, depending on how much you're taking, it might suck, and it might suck really bad for about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks. When I withdrew from the Kratom extract MIT 45 cold turkey, the time that I did it, and I've shared this multiple times, I did not sleep for 2 weeks. And when I say I didn't sleep, I don't mean, I just wasn't sleeping all that well. No, I literally did not sleep for right at about 2 weeks, like 13 days, somewhere around in there, when I finally started to drift off and sleep a little more throughout the night. Granted, I was taking a decent amount, up to 2 of the MITs per day, but it's one of those things you're gonna have to decide for yourself. Are you able to clench your feet to the floor and strap yourself in for those kind of withdrawals? And if you're not, then you might want to follow this blueprint that I'm putting out here, getting on the Kratom powder and then tapering down week by week. And this way you can most likely avoid any major withdrawals. You might have a little bit here and there, especially if you're coming off of something like the MIT 45's and going on to the powder to then knock it down until you're finally off of it. So if you're doing a taper, you may still have a little bit of withdrawals when you actually lower the dosage, because your body becomes accustomed to a certain amount. And then when you deviate from that at all and you take away from that amount, your body's going, what the hell? Where's the 14 grams of Kratom? Where's the 17 grams of Kratom per day that I've been getting for the last year, 2 years, 3 years, some of us 5, 6 years? And your body kind of goes in what I like to call haywire mode. It doesn't know what's going on and how to react to that lesser amount. So you may have still a couple of days where you're a little bit edgy, you're not sleeping quite as well at night, but as long as you're tapering and you still do have some of the chemical kratom alkaloid in your system, you should be able to taper off with minimal disruption and minimal withdrawals. And that's what really, let's be honest, that's what really scares most people, the withdrawals, because the withdrawals suck. Let's get real. All right, so I'm going to tell another story from my past, and this one has to do with my relationship with my first wife. Well, you know what? I'm going to share this the next time, because my current wife is calling me now, and I would prefer to talk to her, and I'll pick up this story on my next video. So I appreciate you guys watching. Like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.